Hi guys, it's Chris for AF Golf Store. Today we're at the British Masters on the Mizuno tour truck and we're taking a look at the new JPX925 range, and there's nobody better to talk me through it than senior tour rep Joe Beck. Joe, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
How are you? All right?
Yeah, good. Busy week?
Yeah, it's been busy-ish. So we've got Luke and Marco here this week, a couple of other unsets in play. So it's been not so busy, but it's all right.
Excellent. And obviously they're playing clubs that we're not going to be talking about. We've had a look at them in the past.
Yep.
Today we're looking at the highly anticipated new range of JPX.
Yep.
So it's a 925. What have we got?
So we've got a 925, we've got three models. We've got High Launch, Pro, and just a standard hot metal. So these are to replace the 923 hot metals. So if you've got Hot Metal Pro, slightly less offset. You've got the standard hot metal, which is kind of maximum forgiveness. And you've got the High Launch, which are slightly weaker lofted, easier to launch, easier to stop on the green.
So if we start with High Launch, this is the second gen. So it was in 923, not 921.
Yeah.
So what kind of golfer is going to go into that, and why would they pick that over hot metal?
There's a kind of common trend with sort of the stronger, more forgiving heads. They're very strong lofted. So if you're struggling for height, something like the High Launch are slightly weaker lofted. They're easier to launch in the air, easier to spin. They stop shorter, but you still get all the forgiveness that you would do in a standard hot metal head. Okay,
perfect. So typically higher handicappers.
Yeah, somebody struggling with ball strike more than anything.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, and then the next is hot metal.
Yeah.
Is that like the signature? That's your go-to iron in the mix?
Yeah, if you're looking for kind of the ultimate forgiveness, but you're not struggling for kind of ball flight or stopping power, the hot metal is the one you go for. It's ultimate forgiveness. It feels pretty good, looks pretty good. It's not too kind of chunky, but it's ultimate kind of forgiveness in our range. Okay, and if you're if you've been used to playing the High Launch in the 923, you've got a little bit better. Yeah. Would you look for progress into this? Or yeah, it kind of comes down to ball flight more than anything. If you're still struggling for stopping power, you're going to stick with the High Launch. If you're looking for something with a bit more of a stronger flight or something with potentially a bit more distance, then you'd go probably more towards the hot metal, more kind of loft based. Okay. And then my favourite, Hot Metal Pro. Yeah. Talk to me about that, and how has that improved from 923? Because for us at AF Golf Store, that was a real success story. Yeah, again, similar to the rest of the range, it's more of a kind of cosmetic change for the Pro. So the Pros have always been a slightly less offset kind of cavity back. So for people like myself, I've looked down there and I could probably play that, and it's a very good looking package looking down at it, but it's very easy to hit as well. Is that where it kind of stops before you go into the Pro range? You know, typically before they've had the Forge, what if you were stuck between a player that might be thinking Pro 245, Hot Metal Pro? Is there a chance to blend that? Would you see that? Yeah, you can do it. It's going to be more of a construction thing when you're going from Pro into Mizuno Pro range, the Hot Metal Pro to Mizuno Pro. It's going to be a construction of head. Materials, you're going something like JPX, they're going to last slightly longer. Yeah. It's a slightly harder head as well, but slightly easier to hit. So again, depends on what you want ball flight wise and how your ball striking is where you're going to cut that set off. So it's not typically something that you not predominantly no. And what are the lofts? So your typical 7-iron lofts, are there big differences between the High Launch all the way through to the Pro? There's a 3-degree gap between them, so it's pretty much a whole club. Yeah. Okay, so you might blend Hot Metal Pro, but blending all the way up to High Launch is not necessary. Yeah. And what about stock shafts? Have you bought anything out new for this range? There's a few new additions we've got in there. So looking at slightly heavier graphites, we've always done quite light graphite in our range. The necessity for slightly heavier graphite, you've got guys swinging faster but want a bit more vibration dampening, and so that's with the MMTs coming into the range now as well. It's a new offering. Excellent. Okay, and then just kind of going back, so while we're at the British Masters, it kind of makes sense to talk a little bit about Luke Donald. Yeah. So you got him in here this week. He's playing. Yeah. Obviously, Ryder Cup captain, going in for a second time as well. What's he playing? Luke is in 245s at the moment. 245s. So he started testing those beginning of this year, and he's moved over to that side. He was always a blade man. Yeah. He's looking for a little more distance, a little more control through the air as well. So the 245 gives him just slightly more ball speed, slightly more distance. It kind of keeps up with some of the younger guys out here now. Yeah, and I think that can resonate with a lot of club golfers as well. The better players, your kind of previous club champions that might have been playing blade, 241, or even the 243s, looking at
how do I kind of keep up with the younger players? There's no shame in taking a little bit of a step back and getting that extra forgiveness.
No, as long as you get kind of the stopping power with the height, the spin, which you get with the 245.
Yeah.
Distance is never a bad thing. It's just making sure it's controllable. We get that with the 245.
And that's what I love about Mizuno is there's so many irons that, as you said, depending on the characteristics that you're looking for in the ball flight, you've got a club there to cover every golfer. Perfect. Okay, well, thank you very much. There's a little insight into the new 925 range. If you're looking for a free custom fitting at AF Golf Store, get yourself booked in, www.afgolfstore.co.uk.